the coaching sessions for the PMP exam. So we will continue today with the next tips and tricks, and we will team tips and tricks. So how to answer questions in the exam related to the team, since team holders both are part of the people domain, which accounts for 42% of the questions in the PMP exam. So actually, based on the feedback from all the people who are the exam, there are always a lot of questions about, how to manage the team, how to lead the team, and mainly how to resolve team conflicts, team issues, contribute to team development, how to communicate with the team, ensure, proper communication among the team members, etc., etc. We will be seeing a lot of tips and tricks in regards to the team. These tips and tricks are really important. Some of them they apply to also the stakeholders, because actually, for example, the part about communication and conflict resolution we've left it with the team, but actually it is also applicable. Okay. So actually, in the exam, in the PMP exam, when you see the term project team, it actually can be used either in Waterfall, predictive project management, or also in Agile, adaptive project management. Maybe earlier, project team used to refer to the Waterfall team, and development team used to refer to the Agile team, but actually now it's more, the term project team that has been used in all types of the project management question. However, if the question is about adaptive project management, maybe you will still see the term project team in use. Okay, maybe, but at the end, at least an idea about the difference between these two terminologies, especially the term development team is mainly used in Agile, right? The term development team actually refers to the technical team, the team that performs the project. In Agile, for example, if you talk about Scrum, we have three main roles: the product, the Scrum Master, and the team. We will see roles in detail in the next chapters, tips and tricks. Okay, but the term development team mainly refers to the technical team who are executing the work. Those are not just software developers. The team actually can be functional, like divide by like in operations, but in project management, in PMI's mindset, the team is rather cross-functional. So then, people are more like in a form of a T-shaped. So they have one specialty, but also they have knowledge in other specialties. Okay. In PMI's mindset in the exam, you will see that you will have a lot of questions or several questions, maybe about remote teams, people who work, remotely, maybe different continents, different countries, different cities, and you will be in different situations in the exam in order, to find the best solution, how to deal with these teams, whether it's, a matter of cultural diversity, or maybe it will be a matter of cooperation, collaboration, or information sharing, or, for example, checking progress. So you will be, you find yourself in different situations, and a lot of times in the exam you will have questions about, a team composed of on-site people and remote people. So you will always need to find a solution how to deal with these situations, because in real life scenarios, we always have such scenarios actually in our projects. And remember, the PMP exam is always based on real life scenarios. Okay, so the project manager with the team, they can use various online collaboration tools. Actually, PMI in the PMP exam, it does not mention by name any of those tools. Doesn't, for example, mention Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, Zoom, or Slack, or any of those terms. Slack maybe is used just but as a technical word. We will see it later, but actually it uses more the functionality of that tool. Okay, it mentions the functionality such as video conferencing tool, meeting recording, digital information sharing. It doesn't mention or Jira as online collaboration tools or project management tools, but it just states the functionality required from those tools. So this is very important to remember. So please don't be surprised if in the PMP exam you will see a lot of questions about remote teams. Okay, so you have to be prepared, mentally prepared to deal with such situations, even if in your current projects you haven't been in that position. Okay, also it's very important to remember that you as a project manager need to prove that you're various skills assessment techniques when you're hiring people. Okay, so PMI expects from you as a project manager to have performed hiring or staffing or resourcing at least for one of your projects. Okay, and maybe you will have a question about this area. Okay, also in PMI's mindset, and this fourth bullet, it actually repeats in a lot of questions in the exam, in development. Okay, helping people in your team improve their skills, their knowledge, their competencies. Okay, and you as a project manager, you need that you provide a training, mentoring, and coaching either by yourself, especially when it's about, for example, agile approaches, agile methodologies. Now, PMI does not expect you to bring in somebody expert in agile, because if you want to teach your team about agile, you're supposed to do it yourself. Okay, when it comes to agile, maybe in case some of your team members are lacking some skills in areas in which you're not knowledgeable, then you might use the expertise of an expert in your team. Okay, somebody senior, somebody expert in your team. All right, you really come to hiring or hire somebody external, like such as a subject matter expert, only in case the skills, these required skills to teach the team, are not available your team members. Okay, so if no one in your team members has got those technical skills which the other team members need, maybe you might bring in an external consultant, especially if that's related to some critical activities. Now, you really need to remember these. Again, I need you to remember something really important. I don't want you, to learn these tips and tricks by heart. I want you to understand them, be able to really, imagine all of these bullets, imagine them in some real case scenarios, some real projects, so then you can remember them better. So these fourth bullet, they're really important because questions are about these two topics. First of all, providing the team members with the adequate training, mentoring, coaching, etc. You can, do it, or have somebody senior in the team do it, and you hire in case you don't have the available among the project team. Okay. Let me add here the word project. Okay, so just to ensure that we're talking about the project team and not any other team. Okay. All right. Um, then you need also to remember Tuckman's team development stages. Okay, and here we've added in this tips and tricks version 2, we've added here the respective leadership style that with the development stages. So once you're forming your team, like acquiring your team member, you're applying a directive. All right, generally. Okay, now we're talking generally, and just not an agile, even though in agile we avoid using the term or the directive leadership style. No, we're talking generally. Okay, that's directing, and then immediately the team will start storming, and of course in the drag and drop questions, and in some of the other questions, mainly the drag and drop questions, which we will see in the next session. We will see what kind of behavior does the team have during the performing, then the next also stages, for example, after forming the team where everyone is working in silo, people are just figuring out this and discovering this new environment. People are working independently. Then the team might enter the storming phase. Here, you as a project manager, you must expect that your team will run into storming phase where they're disagreeing about performance. Everyone would like to impose their way. So here you need to have some leadership style. Okay, the style will help your team move quickly of the storming phase. And we will see later on in the next slide what to do in the storming phase. And then you take your team to the norming stage, and you will be supporting them. So here, you will be applying supportive leadership style where the people would like to agree, will try to agree ground rules, make sure they, place, how to work, how to collaborate, who is supposed to do what, who is having which role. Okay, so even the RASI matrix might help here in case it was not previously created. Okay, previously. And then, after the normic phase, the team, will start performing. And here you will be serving your team. Okay, here the servant leadership mindset style is actually the most appreciated. Okay, and again, I'm speaking generally, not just in agile or in. So your team here will be performing. You will be support serving, and then at the end, your team will be adjourning, which means team assigning them or releasing them so they can join different projects. And here you'll be applying a releasing style or leadership style. Right, so actually this is Tuckman's team development stages. Now in the PMP exam, you definitely will have questions of these stages. From each one of these stages you will have questions, but it will not, and the question, it will not be mentioned if the team is in the forming stage, storming. Actually, you should not be expecting, except for maybe one drag and drop question. Yes, because my students, they tell me that almost all of them or most of them, they get this drag and drop question about the different Tuckman development stages. And actually we have a couple of questions about drag and drop questions about Tuckman development stages. But please, I need to tell you this. In the PMP exam, there will be questions, situational questions, without mentioning of the terms forming, norming, adjourning, storming, performing, whatever. No, they will, but the situation will depict such a stage. Okay, there will be always a situation that you need to solve. Questions such as what you need to do or what you could have done to avoid such a scenario, etc. So please, that's why I insist and I repeat, you need to understand the scenarios. You need to understand the different terminologies. You need to understand, these different stage practices in this entire project management course. Okay, so then you should be able to answer those questions in the exam and the different situations. Again, remember something really important. There are no definition questions in the PMP exam. All of the questions are situational. You need to resolve a situation, picking the best approach or the best solution. Okay, or maybe sometimes the first that comes in priority, etc. Okay. Now, remember also that in the exam, you might have a question at least asking you about the different personalities, of the people in your team or stakeholders. That's why in our training we saw the Myers-Briggs type indicators or personality types. Okay, and also you might have a question about people coming from different cultural backgrounds, and you as a project manager, you need to show that you're capable of understanding people's different personalities, also respect people's cultures. Don't be ethnocentric and think that your culture actually is the best. You need to help or improve the collaboration among the team members regardless of their cultural background. And here, to improve collaboration between team members, team building activities might be helpful. Okay, so again, this is not a course. Actually, we're giving you tips and tricks based on real or actually questions very similar to the real PMP exam. Okay, so here all of these are tips and tricks because definitely you will have a question about almost each of these bullets. Okay, now remember also that empowering team members is very important, and in the exam you will have questions about empowering team members. In PMI mindset, it's really good, to participate in taking decisions. Okay, And also, it's really good sometimes to let the team take ownership of actions. This will help improve team productivity in order to achieve more effective and efficient results. Okay, so you will maybe you noticed if you were one of our students, maybe you noticed that in the mock exams that we performed in our training, we always went for the solution which involve the team, where the project manager discusses with the team the best approach, to resolve some situation, discussing what would be the best action, etc. That's empowering team members. Okay. The term resource management plan, it explains how you will be managing the project resources, whether it's humans or non-humans, and which tools and techniques you will use to manage them. Okay, so that's what resource management is about. Now, also, if, for example, in a scenario in the PMP exam, it depicts a confusion among team members, they're confused, they don't know what to do, definitely you try to pick an answer which indicates a review of the project goals, roles, and responsibilities with the team. Because from the scenario, you will understand whether the confusion is about understanding the project roles, the project goals and objectives. Maybe they haven't understood them, and now it's your role as a project manager generally to explain the project goals. But in Agile, if one of the options indicates that the should explain the project vision, then you actually in Agile, the product owner is the one responsible for explaining the project goals. If you don't have that option, then definitely you go ahead and you pick the one where you should, as a project manager, explain the project goals to the team in case they're confused. Okay, and in case the team is confused about the roles and the responsibilities, then the RASI matrix, or one of the resource assignment matrix templates, is actually a solution. Okay, now in case a team member join any or some of the team meetings, then you need to figure out the reason why they do not want to join those meetings. It would be good to remind them of the team spirit and organize a team building if necessary. Maybe this team member has got a personal issue with some of the team members. Okay, so please remember these scenarios and remember that you need to pick really the best choice that fits with the PMI mindset. Okay. In case a team member is leaving the project, okay, because for example they decided to join another project, or change the company, or just quit, simply quit, make sure that there will be a knowledge transfer from that quitting team member to the. Okay, we need to ensure continuity of the knowledge among the project team members. Please remember this. Okay, now in case the team is complaining about not understanding certain information, or some information is missing or is unclear, then you go ahead and you check the communications management plan. Maybe the team is not receiving sufficient information, or maybe not in the right format or frequency. So review communications management plan. Now, anytime there is an issue with information, either with the team member, team, or the stakeholders, you make sure that you review communications management plan, not the stakeholder plan. No. Okay, as we discussed the stakeholder tips and tricks. Okay, now we talked about the RASI earlier. So now we said when a new team member joins the team, you go ahead and you review or update the RASI matrix, because actually the RASI matrix will help them understand what are abilities, what they're supposed to do for each task. Now, the RASI matrix, it can be used, both with the stakeholders and with the team, as we mentioned in the last chapter's tips and tricks. Now, RASI stands for responsible. That's the person who does the task, performs the task. Okay. Accountable, that's the one who will be asked about the outcome or the results of the task. Consulted, just to be consulted with, have their opinion. Okay. For example, let me put it down here. Let me add it. For example, for opinion, for their opinion, actually, let me put it like this, for their opinion. All right, let me just put this in the same format. Okay, so for their opinion, they might be asked for their opinion, okay, or their input, actually, also, can be input. Okay. All right. And this last one, just to be informed about the progress. Okay, about the progress. Okay, so now that's the difference between these roles in the RASI matrix. Okay, among the project team members or even the stakeholders. Okay, now the RASI matrix helps with clarifying. And again, please make sure that you differentiate between the responsible person who performs the task and the accountable one who actually is the one to be asked in case something goes wrong. Okay. Also, now when we move on to some theories, we saw the theory X and Y. These are mainly for leadership. X, that's where people perform or exercise some repressive leadership style, and Y, that's more of a liberating, empowering leadership style. Theory Z and expectancy theories, these are related to motivation. Theory Z is connected, with building, a loyalty and a well-being, where people search for loyalty and, have well-being environment. And expectancy theory, that's where people, give more or less depending on what they expect in return. Okay. Usually in the PMP exam, there is not many questions about these motivation theories. Maybe about Herzberg's theories and Herzberg's intrinsic motivating or hygiene factors. Saw them in the training. Okay, so please go back to the PP training and you review Herzberg's motivating factors, intrinsic. That's when the motivation comes from inside the person, such they would like to become famous, or they would like to have self satisfaction. That's an intrinsic motivating factors. Extrinsic hygiene factors such as working conditions, environment conditions, salary, etc. All right, bonuses, etc. Also, understand intelligence can be important. It can help answer one or two questions in the PMP exam. So emotional intelligence is about understanding others, sympathizing with them. Okay, and it can be used also to resolve conflicts among the team members or the stakeholders. Now, in the PMP exam, question is about emotional intelligence. In case they'll be mentioning some terms such as happy, emotions, dissatisfaction, etc. All right. Now, team building activities. Actually, let's explain once more what is team building. Team building, that's when you gather the team, mainly outdoor for open talking, some sport activities, etc. And it can be used either in forming stage, also it can be used in storming. Now, what do you mean? In case there are some issues or collaboration issues among team, because they don't know each other or they don't like each other, then team building can help. Team charter, actually it contains the ground rules, and usually it is built during the norming stage. Okay, in some of the projects also it can be built during the forming stage, but can have it in the norming stage because it contains all the ground rules, the social techniques, decide decision techniques, and remove a lot of conflicts among the team members. Okay. Almost in most of the exams, PAP exams that our students had, they mentioned that they had this question about the number of communication channels among the team members. Okay. So the communication channels among team members or among stakeholders, that's the number of the people involved times number of people involved minus 1 divided by 2. Okay, and again number of participants in the communication. For example, if you have 5 stakeholders, so the communication channels among those 5 stakeholders, that's 5 times 4, 20 divided by 2, 10. So we will have 10 communication channels. Okay. The next 3 bullets are in red because actually those will help you a lot, avoid some wrong answers. For example, you should never select an answer that involves punishing a team member, punish. Actually, PMI is totally against punishing. There are better ways to, motivate team members or on how to enforce some ground rules. Okay, never select an answer that implies rewarding, generally rewarding, especially financial rewards, such as incentives. Okay, financial incentives, and mainly never choose an answer that implies rewarding only one team member. Okay, so let me just add only. Okay, only one team member, because that's called zero sum reward. Okay, so actually let me just change this one from here. Actually, it's here. Okay, that's kind of a zero sum reward. Okay, all right, let me get back. All right, just a second, guys. Okay, I think there is a question, something. All right. um I think you do not have any interruptions, guys. I think the sound is good. To be honest, let me just check. Yeah, actually, should be fine. All right. Sorry about this. So now I just changed something. So never select an answer that implies rewarding only one team member. That's called zero sum reward. And also, please do not select answers of rewarding a team member in private. So in case you would like to reward a team member, for example, in form of a competition that was announced in front of all the team members, then once you reward the team member that has won, do it in front of the others. But again, we really avoid, rewarding only one team. Better ways are, remember, not by rewarding them, alone, but for example, by, helping them or recommending to them to, for example, mentor their colleagues or coach their colleagues or provide training or supervision to their colleagues. That's a form of a motivation. And this form of motivation, actually, it can, be beneficial for both the team member as a motivation and for the colleagues, for their colleagues, because they will benefit from that, reward as well. Okay, so and we will see in the next session questions about this type of questions. All right. Now, yeah. Now, the communications management plan, same as the resource management plan. It includes, or in this communication plan, you should define who should, which meetings that we will have in the project, who should attend which meeting, who should lead which meeting, and who should replace who in case of the absence. Okay, so will be absent. So in the communication management plan should be mentioned who should be the backup of who in case of absence. Okay, the communication management plan also contains which information to share in which format and when. So please, these two bullets, remember them, because there will be a couple of questions about communications management plan, and either by mentioning communications management plan in the text, in the situation, okay, or in one of you as a project manager also understand the communication needs of your team, and okay, and please avoid answers where there is adding resources. Okay, so really, let me just put this in red, because actually this is extremely important. Okay, okay, we should always avoid answers of adding resources, because PMI is against any answers where we will spend money more than was budgeted. Okay, because this leads to extra cost. In case of any issue or any unpleasant situation, try to discuss it with the team, involve the team, empower the team, because discussing it with the team is one of the favorite solutions. Okay, now depending on the other options you have for the question, time discussing the issue with the team and going for the action plan is probably the right answer. Okay, in case of a conflict, now the last two bullets, they apply for both team and stakeholders, and they're really really important. Okay, now in case of any conflict, and it will be mentioned by word, in the question, or maybe, or you will understand directly from the question that the situation is about a conflict. Now what you need to do is, first of all, find the root cause of the conflict. So you always try to go for the answers where you should search for the root cause of the conflict and use the face-to-face communication. Okay, now resolving conflicts is better face-to-face communication, open communication style. Please remember these words. Okay, and discussion in private rather than in front of the others. Okay, so PMI encourages, resolving the conflict in private, not in front of the others, because that might involve, sharing some sensitive information or personal information, mainly or especially in case somebody has got a personal issue with another person and they wouldn't that in front of the others. Now, here are the conflict resolution techniques, ranked from the best to the worst. Now, definitely confronting direct communication, that's called problem solving. It is a win-win situation. Or in case the two conflicting parties cannot confront each other and talk about the problem, try to solve it, then we go with collaborating. That's where the project manager or the team interfere, and that's again with a win-win output. Otherwise, we go for reconciling, which means both conflicting parties try to, give up on some of their objectives. That's a lose-lose, but at least here we, keep the relationship. Otherwise, we try to, just accommodate or, use a smoothing. That's, where some of the conflicting parties don't try to insist on their own objective this time. But again, that's not a permanent solution. Otherwise, in case, some of the parties will use their power to enforce or direct to enforce a certain solution, that might lead to losing the relationship with the other party. But definitely the worst way of resolving conflicts is to withdraw from the project or withdraw from the team or from the conflict. Okay, that's called withdrawal or avoiding. That can lead to the end of the relationship because that's a lose-leave situation. Okay, so please remember this conflict resolution or management techniques, and definitely we always favor confronting or collaborating. Okay. Now, let's talk in the last slide about the team in the most common leadership styles. Remember something important, which is leadership is always situational. That means you employ the appropriate type of leadership depending on with whom you're dealing, the situation, the conditions, etc. PMI always, or mostly favors the servant leadership style. That's where, you apply more of a coaching mindset, resolving impediments, okay, providing the well-being, mentoring to the team. Okay. Otherwise, there are the other types of leadership, such as democratic, taking decisions jointly; transformational, that's empowering others; the laissez-faire, that's where the team takes the decisions; transactional leader, who uses the reward and the sanctions; reward to motivate and sanction to punish; charismatic leader, who uses storytelling to inspire others; the authentic leader, who is transparent and uses data and information; the interactional leader, who's a transactional, transformational; and the least favored type of leadership is the autocratic. Okay, that's the one who decides alone and doesn't trust the others. And again, and lastly, remember the power types. The legitimate power, you as a project manager, you always have a legitimate power that comes with the position, and there is the reward power, the punish power, the referent power, the expert power, and the situational power. There are other types of powers. Definitely, in our PMP training, we have almost 14 types of power. But we just wanted to mention just these ones. And the one that you need to remember is that power is legitimate, definitely, that comes from your role. Okay. Now, these are the tips and tricks for the team. Okay. Let's put them in a separate video for you guys so can watch them later. All right. Okay. Let me ask you a question. Guys, does